Hello and welcome to I Feel Fat Today. I'm your host, Kelly Taylor. Thank you so much for joining me on this wonderful, beautiful Friday. We're back with the full video episode, and guess what, team? This week I also have a guest. So it is a full-fledged I Feel Fat Today original, just like what we love and are used to. I appreciate everybody dealing with the, sort of changes in our regularly scheduled programming, where I wasn't able to sit and do this and then go into a whole conversation with the guest. But you guys still watch the episodes, and I appreciate that very much. Okay, as always, please subscribe on YouTube, where we have full video episodes. Please like and comment on the episode as you see fit, and most importantly, subscribe. Please subscribe to the channel. We are stuck at 305. We were at 307, and we lost 2 along the way, which... sorry, I couldn't be what you need. So please subscribe. Tell your friends to subscribe as well. Then head over to Apple Podcasts, where you can rate and review. Please give us a 5-star review. Let us know how you feel about the podcast. That gets us out there for more people to watch. If you want some advice, please send an email to ifeelfattoday@gmail.com and follow the pod on social media at ifeelfattoday, where we have post clips of the episodes and keep you up to date on all that is happening with the podcast world. And of course, please follow me, your host, Kelly Taylor, at Hello, This is Kelly. That is how I answer the phone. Okay, I am recording this just a few days before I am about to fly out to sunny Tampa, Florida. Got a few things going on down there, so I'm going to be away from New York City for a little bit, which I gotta say, I'm looking forward to. New York, I love you, but you are bringing me down. That can happen when you've lived here, especially for a while. I always look forward to getting out of town, especially going somewhere sunny, which, gang, I went through, tried on a lot of different outfits, feeling pretty good about it. Just gotta, I always have to do that preliminary. Okay, do I feel comfortable in this? Is this gonna work out? So I'm not all over the place when I get there. I'm not somebody that can say, okay, Monday I'm wearing this. So Tuesday I'm wearing this. I can't go that far, but I do pack different variations that can go with each other instead of it being all kind of crazy. So that has me feeling calm and excited for that. Yes. So that actually also brings me to, I don't know. I've been toying with the idea of, for Memorial Day weekend, if I'll have an episode come out on that Friday, which is the 24th. I'm going to be away. And so I don't know. So I want to tell you a week before, I don't know if we're going to have an episode on Friday the 24th. Now, you may be saying to yourself, Kelly, don't you have this rule where every Friday you have to have an episode come out? Yes, I do have that rule, but that is Memorial Day weekend. And historically, on holiday weekends, podcasts do tend to take off. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And I think with me being away, I might have to, strike on that and take off that Friday. But maybe not. I don't know. I might be able to get my shit together and get an episode together for you all on that Friday. So I'm just forewarning, if you wake up on Friday morning, Friday the 24th, and you don't see an I Feel Fat Today episode, don't worry. Don't alert the authorities. It just means I took Memorial Day weekend off because I will be away. But I'm going to see. I'm just letting you know. I'm giving myself an out. I don't want to not have an episode, but I am giving myself an out. Okay. Got that done. And this very episode that we're listening to is episode 52. And that means that's 52 weeks of podcasting. We are officially at 1 year. 1 year of doing I Feel Fat Today, according to, the 52 weeks. Yeah, there's 52 weeks in a year, right? That's crazy. I can't believe I've been doing this for a year. It feels pretty good. It feels good. And I want to thank all my loyal listeners and all the listeners that, come in intermittently when they maybe see a guest that they like and want to tune in. It means a lot to me. I want to thank all my guests that have so graciously donated their time and have been so open and honest and candid throughout the year, soon to be years. It's very exciting. And I'm glad that I picked this back up. I'm glad that I decided to go on this pursuit. And I'll never forget you all when I am big and whatever. No, I'm kidding. I'm going to forget everybody. No. This is great. 52 episodes. Can you believe it? Unreal. All right. Well, before we get into it with our guest this week, I read an interesting article in the New York Times that I'm going to share with all of you. And it is all about PCOS and dieting. Now, PCOS is a hormonal condition. I'll go into that more when I get into the article. But obesity is related to PCOS. And historically, it has always been that restrictive diets is how you kind of deal with the obesity aspect of PCOS. And it's something that so many women deal with. And it's interesting, the news that has come out recently about PCOS and the associated recommended diets. So we're going to read that. It's not too long. It should be pretty quick. And then we'll go right into it with my guest this week. All right. So again, this is from the New York Times. Does the PCOS diet work? For years, people who had polycystic ovarian syndrome and were also overweight were told that their symptoms would improve if they lost weight via a restrictive diet. In 2018, a leading group of PCOS experts recommended that overweight or obese women with the hormonal disorder considered reducing their caloric intake by up to 750 calories a day. That guidance helped spawn questionable diet programs on social media and reinforced an impression among people with PCOS that if only they could successfully alter their diets, they would feel better. But the recommendations were not based on robust PCOS studies, and researchers now say that there's no solid evidence to suggest that a restrictive diet in the long term has any significant impact on PCOS symptoms. Dieting rarely leads to sustained weight loss for anyone, and for people with PCOS, losing weight is particularly difficult. Beyond that, the link between sustained weight loss and improved symptoms is not very clear or well established, said Julie Duffy Dillon, a registered dietitian specializing in PCOS care. In 2023, the same group, called the International PCOS Network, revised its guidance based on a new analysis of research and dropped all references to calorie restriction. The group now recommends that people with PCOS maintain an overall balanced and healthy diet composition, similar to the Mediterranean diet, which is associated with a reduced risk of health issues that are linked to the disorder, like cardiovascular disease and diabetes. It is not known whether eating this way might improve symptoms of PCOS. The changes in the guidelines reflect the PCOS literature and the lived experience of people with the condition, says Dr. Helena Teed, an endocrinologist at Monash Health in Australia and lead author in the 2023 guidelines. It's no longer about blaming people or stigmatizing them or suggesting that it's their personal behavioral failure that they have a higher weight. What is PCOS? PCOS is a hormonal disorder that affects as many as 5 million women in the United States. It's categorized by irregular periods, infertility, excessive facial hair growth, acne, and scalp hair loss. Symptoms that are common with other health conditions too, making diagnosis tricky. People with PCOS usually ovulate less than once a month and often have higher levels of male sex hormones or multiple underdeveloped follicles on their ovaries. Not as the same name suggests, cis or both. Okay. Typically, when a woman is experiencing symptoms, a doctor will either scan the ovaries to look for those follicles or draw blood to test hormone levels. There's no cure for PCOS. The first line of treatment is often some form of birth control to help regulate the menstrual cycle. Though PCOS is usually framed as a reproductive issue, it can also affect metabolic health. including blood sugar, blood pressure, and cholesterol levels. People with PCOS often have chronic inflammation, which occurs when the immune system is overstimulated for extended periods of time. And they are at a higher risk of developing cardiovascular disease, endometrial cancer, and diabetes, says Dr. Heather Huddleston, director of the PCOS Clinic and Research Program at the University of California, San Francisco. The condition has also been associated with an increased risk of mental health issues like depression, anxiety, suicide attempts, and eating disorders. The body-weight connection. The relationship between PCOS and weight is complex. The condition is strongly associated with obesity. Someone with PCOS is predisposed to weight gain, and as they do, their symptoms might worsen, says Dr. Angwa Dokraz, director of Penn Polycystic Ovary Syndrome Center at the University of Pennsylvania and a co-author of the 2023 guidelines. It's a bidirectional relationship, she said, but we don't understand why it is that they tend to gain weight. In the 2023 guidelines also noted that obesity rates among people with PCOS vary in different parts of the world. And Dr. Dokra said, not everybody with obesity has PCOS. Some studies show that weight loss via lifestyle changes might improve some hormonal and metabolic symptoms of PCOS, Dr. T said, but the evidence around fertility is challenging. Very few studies have measured changes in ovulation and pregnancy rates. One of our biggest research questions is how much weight loss over how much time, and then how much stability of that weight we need for the body's reproductive system to kick back in, she added. The most convincing sign that weight loss might be associated with improved ovulation and pregnancy rates comes from recent studies that have looked at the outcomes of bariatric surgery among obese women with and without PCOS. Dr. Dokra said, I missed where the period was. Typical PCOS article problem. Okay, those data shows that after surgical intervention and drastic weight reduction, those with PCOS start having very regular periods, and the male hormone levels also drop. Research to study whether weight loss drugs like Ozempic can improve symptoms for PCOS patients is still ongoing. But many women with PCOS have insulin resistance when the body does not effectively use the insulin it creates, leading to elevated levels of blood sugar. This can exacerbate some symptoms, including weight gain, and also make weight loss particularly difficult, says Dr. Huddleston said. And Ms. Dillon said that the old advice to restrict calories in order to lose weight has been especially troubling given the higher rates of eating disorders among people with PCOS. Anecdotally, she said she has seen the lasting harm of the advice in many of her patients. When people try diets and inevitably fail because they don't work for most people, then they take ownership of it like, well, that's my fault, said Ms. Dillon said. So then they don't seek healthcare anymore, and it's not uncommon for people with PCOS to meet with me and tell me I'm the first person they've seen in 10 years. By that point, she added, they have lots of different health concerns like diabetes and high cholesterol, and they are also ashamed and depressed and anxious. There you have it. So very interesting, very, new look at recommendations around PCOS and how your diet could affect that hormonal condition. PCOS is not something I personally deal with. I probably know some people with PCOS, but it is something. PCOS is one of those things where when you think about men writing laws about women's bodies, it really makes you just want to bang your head against the wall. Because if a man had to deal with something like PCOS, some kind of ovarian disorder, we'll call it, they would not be able to function. And I don't care how that sounds. It's just the fucking truth. And one of the many reasons why it's annoying that men make laws about what we can do with our bodies. Because if they had to endure a day with PCOS, I don't think that they would have too fine of a time. But there would be a lot more research on it. So, who knows? Okay. That is what I wanted to cover before we get into it with my guest this week, who is a man, a very kind one, a very nice one. He hails from San Francisco and is new to New York City, at least new in the last year. He's very cool, very kind, and cares a lot about his physique and how he looks. And we talk a bit about that on this week's episode. Without further ado, my guest for this week is the very funny stand-up comedian. Jeez, sorry. Oh my gosh, my cat Babastis just went to the bathroom in the litter box and then ran out, because that's what he always does, because he needs to seem very intimidating, because he just did a very vulnerable thing. And you know how men are. When they do something vulnerable, they have to, act out physically. And so he just did that. And in doing so, he almost knocked over my camera here. So that's why that just happened. Anyways, back to it. Please welcome my guest this week, comedian Marty Cunnie. Welcome.
Does this sound good? We don't know, do we? We have no idea how this sounds.
Everything is set to the same levels all the time.
Perfect.
So
yeah. Nothing's ever adjusted.
Yeah.
Nothing ever needs adjusting.
And if it, and a wise man once said, "We'll get it in post."
I have zero audio editing experience.
Everything is self-taught.
Yeah.
So it's often not good, but the product's not bad.
Good enough.
Good enough. That's what I go for. That's
we don't want audiophiles in our audience.
No.
Fuck those people.
No. Listen to
you listen
something
to
else.
a record player? Suck my dick.
Listen to something else.
Yeah.
Fully agree. A record player is something that someone owns exclusively to collect dust.
Yeah, and to maybe try to get laid once or twice.
It's worked on me. It has worked on me. That is for sure.
Sometimes it's the simple things.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just looking like you're slightly different from other people.
Yeah. Like you're cool. When everyone's digital, just be analog, man.
Yeah, man. And then now everyone's going to be analog. So soon you'll have an iPod shuffle and then it's going to get people wet,
Oh, yeah. Totally.
You go full circle constantly.
Do you think CDs will ever come back the way records did?
I hope so. I liked having CDs in the car.
Oh, so fun.
Playing through a CD. I still will do it on Spotify. I'll play through an album. But it's not. It's you're not stuck to it. I think people made the same arguments for 8 tracks. It was you had to listen to the whole 8 track.
Yeah.
You had no choice. So if any song, it was a lot more pressure to make every song good.
Yeah, totally.
Because otherwise people were I gotta fucking go through this song.
Yeah. Now people can fuck around a little bit more when you have the ability to skip.
Yeah, and it's and because the way everything's digital now is everything's so much more tailored to an algorithm, right?
Yeah.
And not that that's a totally new idea, but that's why Little on His X became big, because he figured out exactly how much airplay, how exactly to time the song with the chorus and everything, so it would hit airplay the most appropriately.
Yeah, and it worked.
Yeah,
it totally worked. I have to listen to an album straight through. I can't skip around. I mean, there's playlists and stuff, but if I'm going into anytime a new album comes out, I don't skip to a specific song I'm excited about.
Well, yeah, because you've already heard the single probably.
Yeah, exactly.
So why bother?
Right.
I give it 3 listens, because that first listen you don't even really know what was good.
Yeah.
2 songs that stuck out.
It all sounds Simlish to me.
Yeah, and you're okay. I just heard the new Justice album, and I was all right, I gotta listen to that again, because I don't remember a single fucking one of these songs.
Yeah, nothing has stuck. It just washed over me like a wave.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, Marty, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, of course.
Appreciate it.
Anything to hang out with Finney.
Hell yeah. Yep, he's a good boy with a good vibe.
He's a good vibe. Don't leave out Babastis. He's got a slightly spookier vibe.
He is.
But it's still a vibe.
Yeah.
He's a nice boy.
He is a nice boy. They're both good boys.
Yeah.
So, Marty, where are you from?
I grew up just north of San Francisco in Marin County.
You're a Bay Area
Bay Area
boy.
boy.
Through
Bay
and through.
boys. Bam, bam, bam.
Were you-
We out here.
You've lived there your whole life until recently?
Yeah, so this is my first time moving anywhere else. I mean, I went to Berkeley for school, and then when we lived in San Francisco for 10 years, lived in Oakland for 4 years, and then moved here. So this is my first time living away from California.
How is it? How is it being a West Coaster living in an East Coast world?
I mean, I love it here. This is
Yeah.
a great city. I think my biggest concern, like, I knew I'd like the city because I'd been here a few times before, and I think my biggest concern was being away from family. But like, I've been between comedy and like family trips, like I've been seeing my family enough that it's like not been so bad.
Yeah. How often do you got to see your family?
I mean, almost like not quite, like slightly less than the frequency I was going to see them when I was living. in the
there
Bay
you
Area.
go.
So
Yeah.
like, yeah, I mean, it's been good.
Yeah, that's great.
Like my dad came out here for St. Patrick's Day, and then I went home
nice.
like the next or like the week before for comedy stuff.
Yeah.
And so like I'm seeing them.
Yeah,
You know?
totally.
That was my biggest concern. And then the winter wasn't so bad.
No,
I
this
mean,
winter was not bad at all.
It sucked, but
Yeah.
like, not like bad. It's like it wasn't like the threat of winter that everyone described it as.
Well, because it used to be.
Yeah.
Like I'm a lifelong East Coaster, and so the winters used to suck. The winters used to be untenable, and then because of whatever is happening, global warming, whatever.
Thank God.
It's like
I'm
much
just
more.
sitting there spraying hairspray into the air all day.
God, I miss a good snow day though, because
I mean, we had some snow this year.
I know, but like a snow day, like I remember.
Like it's like you can't do shit. 'cause
Yeah,
it's
it
snowing
was
so
like
much.
it was like.
Yeah.
Hey, it's 2016. Even though we're working with laptops, it's they're at the office, so it snowed and the subway's down and I can't get in and I just can't go to work today. And like
Now that means nothing.
now it means absolutely nothing because every day I'm work from home, like every single day. And so the only thing you can maybe get away with is if it happens to snow significant enough where you could be like, my Wi-Fi's out.
Yeah.
And just lie.
I mean, you could always just lie too.
I know. Yeah. Do you have a day job or do you have
Yeah,
like...
I'm an accountant, so
Oh,
I'm fully
you are?
remote too.
Okay. Wow, you're like a real person.
I'm a pretty grown up. Yeah.
Nice. An accountant. You don't read as accountant.
I get that a lot.
Yeah. Even with the mustache.
The joke I do on stage is like I have people guess my job. And no one ever gets it.
No one ever gets
most
it.
people is like porn stuff, like oh, porn director, like oh right. But I say yeah, I'm an accountant, which most people are surprised by because your accountant looks like this. You are going to jail. So.
Do comedians come up to you like with tax questions?
Oh, all the fucking
Yeah.
time. I always disclaim at the top, like I don't do taxes.
Right.
So like, ask me to do your taxes. I have someone else do my taxes. You're gonna get just as much luck from Intuit
TurboTax.
or TurboTax
Yeah.
or whatever. But it is surprising some of the questions that people ask me, and I'm like, did you really think that you could get away with that? Did you really think that you were the first person to think of that? It's like, and I always say the same thing with tax stuff. It's like, you can say whatever you want.
Right.
They just might come back at you
I
and ask you to
know.
prove it. And it's like, what you're asking me is, can I do this illegal thing? And I'm like, you can do whatever you want.
Right.
You just might not get away with it.
To
Like-
be honest, taxes are a little bit too open-ended.
Oh, of course.
For,
I mean,
for the punishment, a little too open-ended.
the idea of us having to do our own taxes is insane.
It's so insane.
With like there's like a meme. It's like, we know how much you owe, and you're like, oh, can you tell me? Like, no.
No.
And you have to guess.
Yes.
And if you get it wrong, you're going to jail. It's like, what
Truly.
the fuck? I mean, it's not jail. It's like, you pay a fine. But it's
I
like, why
know.
the fuck should I have to pay a fine?
I
Like,
know.
You know.
I think something like, I think something that would honestly, this is going to be dark, but something that would really make me question if I want to consider living is if I got audited. Just the idea.
The idea of like the government being like, tell us everything.
Oh my God. That is hell. That is like, and it just feels so random when that could potentially happen to
Yeah,
you.
it's just like you get a letter in the mail and it's like, we are up in your business now.
Yeah.
But the craziest thing, okay, so I thought that same thing. I had a client a long time ago that like, I don't do taxes, but so I didn't submit this tax return, but then he got audited for like one of his companies. And I was like, oh shit. So like I started coordinating with the auditors, and then COVID hit, so it kind of became harder to do like the back and forth. And I was like trying to coordinate with these people, and the IRS was just so disorganized.
Yeah.
That at a certain point, I like just kind of stopped.
Yeah.
And then they stopped following up, and so the audit was never completed.
So
like there is that.
Dude,
that does happen.
Because like the IRS is just an organization made up of infallible human beings.
Infallible.
It's infallible.
But this is the funniest part, was that when I initially got the letter, it was like the guy hadn't been checking his mail for like months. He's like some rich asshole who like flew around the world, and he was like, all right, you got to follow up on this immediately. Like this is about to like expire. They're about to come out. And I was like, oh shit. I called them, and they're like, oh. I mean, we were just going to let it fly if you didn't get back to us. It's like, is that how auditing works? You can just ignore it?
No, don't tell me that. Oh, my God.
But that's the thing, is like that was a company versus an individual. I'm sure it's like a different task force or whatever.
Totally. I'm way better at this now, but there was a time in my life, honestly pre-COVID, where if I got a scary letter in the mail, I just like dug my head in the sand and like that didn't happen. I didn't just get that.
Oh, it works. I've done that. I got a hospital bill one time for an ambulance ride. I was like, I'm not.
No.
I'm not paying this.
But
that was when I found out
medical debt is a myth.
That's when I found out how high my deductible was, and I was like, oh, fuck you.
Yeah.
I thought I had good insurance, and it turned out I didn't, and I was just like, oh, I'm not paying all this money because I got too drunk and tried to drunk a handrail and knocked myself out.
I'm just a human.
I'm just a human being. Let me make a mistake every once in a while.
God forbid.
I already have brain damage. All right, don't give me a fucking $2,000 bill.
Gosh.
And that's the thing, is that like they took me to the hospital, and then they just told me that I was drunk. I was like, no, I have a massive concussion, but I was like too fucked up to tell them anything. I woke up the next day, and they're like, "Yeah, you can go." And I was like, "What the fuck happened?"
Oh
like,
my
I was
God.
so confused.
That's crazy.
Like walking out of like SF General and just being like, where am I?"
You spent the night there?
Oh yeah.
That's an expensive hotel stay.
That too.
Yeah.
All of that together. Yeah.
You really find out how shitty your insurance is after you have to go to the hospital.
You don't really know.
Yeah,
you don't know
really
how insurance works.
This thing I pay into.
Like now I do because I had to fucking deal with it.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh my God. No, it's so funny. There are so many, because depending on the size of the bill, like especially, you could just be lucky in that like it was passed over, and the guy that was handed your file was hungover that day.
Yeah.
And just like didn't process it and moved on to the next one when they were more cogent.
Yeah. That's why I like a good rural hospital.
Yes.
Yeah. They got bigger fish to fry. They got a lot more like drug problems to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
You're very low on the priority list when it comes to collecting money.
Yeah. Sorry, that's Finn's best friend. He gets a little crazy about it, even though no one's touching it and cares about it.
I didn't look at it, Finn.
He's like, that's my girlfriend.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. No. Well, that's cool. You're an accountant.
Sure.
I honestly, you say accountant. I think taxes. I really just thought every accountant
that's what everyone
taxes.
does. Yeah. So, first thought is like I literally make an announcement every like February.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, just a reminder. I don't know shit about taxes. Stop asking me.
Every time I tell people.
But I have helped people sometimes.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I mean, you have
I don't know nothing.
Yeah,
It's
you have
just,
like knowledge of numbers or whatever. My I have a tax guy. Like I just have an accountant.
I do too.
Yeah. I just
Although I don't know if he filed my taxes. He hasn't replied to me in a while.
He needs to do that. No,
yeah,
my tax guy is awesome. My tax guy is awesome. Like
he was awesome when he does the
time-
taxes.
Right. Yes.
He did a great job when he did them.
You have to.
I have no idea if he did my taxes this year.
Well, you're way past. Hopefully, he filed an extension.
I wish I could tell you
that
was the case.
I think if your accountant doesn't file your taxes in time, even though you've asked him to, they should be the one to pay the fine.
I guarantee you he won't.
Yeah.
I guarantee you he won't.
I bet if I was a tax accountant, I would not have that policy. I would just be like, oops,
100%.
sorry.
I'd be like, oh, you can go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Also, I think he doesn't trust white people. He's like an Indian guy.
Uh-huh.
Because like an Indian friend referred him. And he had to like he kept asking him like, is this guy okay? I don't trust white people. I was like, this guy's probably a really good accountant.
Hell yeah. My tax guy is also an Indian guy.
Yeah, a lot of them. We out here.
Yeah. Hell yeah. My so my tax guy, we'll move on from taxes, but I want to get your opinion on
this is what the podcast is about, right?
This is what it is. Hopefully, if someone's probably hasn't done their taxes and is
oh,
listening
fuck.
to this, fuck, it's like following me wherever I go. That's how I was with taxes. But my tax guy is great because if I owe money, he'll like call me and be like, listen, it's not looking good. Can you send me some more expenses? You know, like he's very cool, you know, and tries to like get that number down as much as possible.
I think my guy makes up expenses.
Hell yeah. That's great.
I think he just threw some numbers on there that I did not give him.
Yeah.
I was like, that's fine.
That's fine. My, but like, people will ask, oh, how did you do your taxes? How did you get your taxes? And I'm like, oh, I have an accountant. He does everything. And then they ask how much I pay. And I tell them, and they're like, what? That's so much money. And it's like probably anywhere, depending on like the forms that I have. Oh, God, I'm worried about your reaction now. But anywhere from like $300 to like $450.
I think I pay my guy like $1,000 because he does my LLC too.
Oh, yeah. You have like more stuff.
So that's the thing is that I have personal filing 2 states now and LLC. So.
In truth, I would pay probably anything just to have peace of mind.
Yeah, and also he gets such a bigger return that he
totally
pretty much cancels it out. So
yeah.
I'll pay it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like if you're taking it from money that's coming in that I don't even really know the true amount, like take.
Who really knows how any of this works?
When I get to a level of success where I have a business manager, I am totally going to be like Dane Cook level susceptible of them like stealing my money.
I wish that's what I should be doing. You know, like instead I should be doing the comedy in order to meet people, to become their money guy. That eventually I can just rob them blind.
That's a script.
That's a pretty good idea.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Write that down. It's okay. We have it recorded.
I'm the guy. Yeah. Well, then we'll take this down.
Yeah.
And then I'll have it. That's good.
Trademarked.
This idea is worth a lot more than this podcast.
Oh. We're losing money doing this right now. We are losing money.
But we're gaining friends.
Yes, we are. Speaking of gaining, you don't gain much weight. You have a really great body.
I do. I gain weight quickly.
Tell me.
So like I have to I'm very I monitor my diet a lot, like what I'm eating and stuff, and so, but because I think I've especially as I've gotten older, the pendulum has kind of gone from I'm very tightly disciplined by not keeping anything around that I will overeat. But that means when that stuff is around, I just fucking gorge.
Yeah.
And so I made it through winter pretty good without putting on a bunch of weight, which I know is a problem. I have a bike at home and I cook for myself because I work from home. But then at the end of March and the beginning of April, I just went on a 2.5 week drinking and eating spree. It was I went to a wedding and 5 days straight of Italian food.
Oh yeah.
And I was just completely overdid everything, and then I had put on 15 pounds
in that week.
Not in it was over a month pretty much, but it kind of ramped up, and it was just then I was feeling like shit.
Yeah,
I was not 15 pounds on me doesn't look like a ton,
right?
But I can feel it
totally.
And so I do have to really watch how I'm eating, otherwise it gets carried away, because that's the thing is that It used to be that I had snacks around all the time and I could kind of moderate, but now that I don't have snacks around all the time, when I do have snacks around, it's my fucking my compulsive habits are so bad that I just and working from home.
Oh yeah.
Too is the worst for that, because it's I'm just surrounded by these snacks.
And
all the time.
the second I get a little bit too stressed, I'm I need to go.
Yeah, I need to stand up and walk around.
Yeah.
And I replaced snacking with vaping for a little bit.
Oof.
That was an even worse
that's
idea.
A rough one.
Yeah,
that is painful.
After a while, you're I just feel anxious and shitty all the time.
Yeah.
And all I can think about is vaping.
Yeah.
And it's okay, that was a mistake.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm trying to figure out I can't really change the compulsive part, so just trying to make it good compulsive stuff. But it's how much fucking good compulsive stuff do I
know,
do, right? When I'm gonna write a fucking book.
Because what I'm looking for is the dopamine.
I'm looking for just a little hit.
Yeah, exactly.
Just a little hit.
Yeah, does something take me out of it?
Like walking outside, sure, whatever.
Yeah, okay.
But eating a piece of cheese. Now we're talking.
Because if I'm going outside, I'm gonna get a coffee.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the whole thing I do to go outside is I walk to an objective, which is a snack.
Exactly.
Or something.
Yes.
So I'm like, now I try to find snacks that like aren't heavy or like, you know, it's like, at least manage this. So yeah, I've taken up like all those like 0-cal coffee drinks from like bodegas and shit, which I'm sure are killing me in some other way. But they're tasty.
Yeah, they are tasty. And like for as addicting as sugar can be, I'm like fully addicted to aspartame.
Yeah, that's way better. Honestly, because you like the sugar at a certain point, you'll feel it. You don't feel the aspartame.
No, because it's just mummifying your insides.
Yeah, and that's fine because I got a million things mummifying my insides. I think the aspartame's probably the least of my fucking problems.
I'm just straight up formaldehyde inside.
Yeah, I'm embalming myself slowly.
Absolutely.
I drink Malort, okay? There's no way aspartame is worse for me than Malort, okay? There's no fucking way.
No way at all.
I refuse to believe that.
And you know, you mentioned before about the drinking, like drinking and eating like go hand in hand.
That's the thing is that like now I'm like super self-conscious. Like when I'm drinking, it's like, well, don't eat. But I'm like, well, if you don't eat, then you're gonna feel like shit. I feel like shit right now, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could tell, but
you're holding it together.
I know, but like I didn't even drink that much last night. But like I ate at like 5:30 and didn't eat anything else the rest of the night.
Yeah.
Except for like a cookie.
Yeah.
And then had like, 6-7 beers, which not a ton, nothing crazy, but it still is like. But I'm like, oh well, if you're having all these beers, you shouldn't be eating stuff, and that's where it catches up with you.
The either or scenario.
Yeah. So like I'm well put together right now, but I had to like go really stringent on like eating and drinking for like 3 weeks. I'm good at like the crash dieting, but it doesn't make for good long-term habits.
Yeah.
It gave me some good long-term habits. Like it taught me like a lot better cooking and recipes and stuff like that, and like like tasty stuff I can eat. But you can't make tasty snacks.
Right.
That's a lot harder to do.
Well,
you can.
So are you somebody that like you don't touch peanut butter because it's too much sugar?
No, but I don't touch peanut butter because I will eat the whole jar.
Right.
It's not the sugar. I'll get the sugar-free stuff.
Yeah. But
I will just spoon feed myself peanut butter straight, and then like, maybe we'll put a little honey on it.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Like that.
So it's almost like you can't even really have it in the house.
I don't have peanut butter. I used to have peanut butter in the house.
Yeah.
It's one of those peanut butter is one of those ones that's like, if I can moderate it, it's not bad. If I go through a jar of peanut butter in a week, I don't feel too crazy about that.
Yeah.
But like, I'm still like, well, I probably didn't need to do that.
Right.
Rice cakes are a big one for me now. Rice cakes are easy. They're light, and they're pretty. Like they have pretty good flavored ones.
Like
rice
cakes and peanut butter.
See, that's the thing is that I'm looking at the rice cake. I'm like, I gotta put some other shit on this.
Yeah.
Well, you get the flavored ones, and then like if you get an everything bagel one, you don't want to put peanut butter on that. The everything bagel rice cakes are pretty.
I'm just always
everything
thinking,
bagel everything.
I know, but
I put everything bagel on fucking everything.
But I'm just always thinking about what you could put on the everything bagel, like a little smear of cream cheese. Oh my god, that's amazing.
Yeah. No, but I mean the seasoning.
Oh yeah, the
everything
seasoning.
but the bagel is what I mean. Sorry.
Oh yeah, everything but the bagel. Yeah.
Everything but the bagel seasoning is like a cure-all for
it really
every
is.
single like vegetables.
Yeah.
Put on salmon. Put on chicken. It's great.
It is good. It is good.
Put on broccoli.
You know what I've been doing? I like to take dates and you smush the dates and then you put peanut butter and then you put them in the freezer and then it's like a Snickers bar.
Oh, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that. That
it's
sounds
good.
Great.
It's really, really good.
Because that's kind of like what those like simple bars are.
Yes.
The protein bars. That's pretty much what those are.
Yeah.
Like that what they make it out of is dates.
Yeah.
Mostly. Because I was like, why is this like this? Like, why is this so simple? There's just an egg and peanut butter. It's all dates.
Yeah.
And dates are delicious.
Dates are so good.
Dates, that's Now, if we stuff it full of cheese, of goat cheese, and wrap it in bacon, that's how I want to eat a date.
Yeah.
But you can't really casually do that snack.
Yeah.
That's
a whole thing.
If I'm casually snacking on bacon wrapped cheese stuffed dates, like I probably something's gone wrong in my life.
Yeah.
Bacon's
a hard casual food. That's a tough casual one.
Because now that I have an air fryer, everything's casual.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah, totally.
I'm a big air fryer guy.
That's like I don't know where the male population would be right now without the air fryer.
I mean, it literally changed my entire like eating habits,
Yeah.
diets, and everything. It made vegetables so much easier to eat because you don't. The ovens, fuck the oven.
It's too much.
Whose idea was the oven?
It's too much.
How did air fryers take this long?
I know.
To become a thing?
Especially for New York, because these apartments are too small for a hot oven in the middle of the summer.
Yeah, and most of these ovens are fucking old and shit.
Yeah.
And
oh my God, yeah.
I don't. I mean, I
I
don't
use it.
remember the last time. I think the last time I used my oven was for Thanksgiving. We cooked.
Probably.
We
yeah.
cooked Thanksgiving dinner, and that was the last time.
Yeah.
It's good, and if you're doing baking, you need the you can't really do. I'd try if I could do cookies in the air fryer. That'd be bad news.
I'm sure you can.
I tried. It
Really?
didn't work out that well.
Did you use like a parchment paper or like a silicone
Yeah,
thing?
I did all of it. It just didn't really work.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you can. I'm just, it's probably best for me not to know how to do it.
Do you have a sweet tooth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sugar is my. I mean, growing up, just bowl of cereal every morning, like that fucked my brain up so bad.
So addicted.
You know what I realized too is that like we drank milk for dinner every night.
Same.
We were a milk family, and I'm like that milk had so much sugar in it too. Like,
–
everything was just snuck in there.
Yeah.
All the sodas and everything. It's like, oh yeah, I'm like fully since like I was 4 have been addicted to sugar.
Sugar and sodium, everything.
Sodium, yeah, but I don't have. It's not so much of an issue. I like sugar is like. If you put I will eat until I'm sick.
Right.
If you put candy, a bowl of candy in front of me, I will eat it until it's gone.
It kind of sounds like, from what you're describing, you have to have this like super rigid and restrictive sort of diet, and you just kind of mentally prepare for the inevitable binge.
Yes, pretty much. And if I tell myself like, hey, don't fucking binge, like I will. But oftentimes I'm like, well, you've done a good job, and this isn't going to come up again anytime soon.
Right.
But those opportunities come up all the time.
All the time.
All the time.
All the time.
So it's really not the best mindset.
Oh yeah.
If it's rude for me to eat too much, I won't do it.
Totally. Yeah.
Sometimes I will, but fuck them. I don't care. It's like, well, I love cookies. I like it more than you.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I get that.
I get them. I get the cookies. I get the ice cream. I love ice cream. I get the ice cream. Yeah, it's a big time sweet tooth guy. But like, I know that like, well, I dated a girl one time that like she wasn't a sweet tooth, she was a meats. So she would literally like make.
Yeah, I have a friend like
she'd
that.
wake up in the middle of the night and like sleepwalk, eat like salami.
No way.
So she'd like do all this dieting in the day and then just wake up in the middle of the night and eat a bunch of like.
That probably means she wasn't eating
meats.
enough during the day.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing is like and I'll generalize here. Women in their early mid 20s try out some wild,
yeah,
wild
it's our
fucking
favorite
diets.
pastimes. Yeah,
it's. I remember my sister was big on the cabbage soup diet.
Oh hell yeah!
That sounded awful.
Yep.
That sounded fucking terrible. And it's
Yep.
like anything that makes you lose weight in 3 days is not good.
But we always have a reason to lose weight in 3 days.
Sure.
There will always be something that is worth losing weight
I gotta
for in 3
wear
days.
a fit of this dress.
Exactly.
Or it's like the beach day coming up.
Exactly.
It's like and the thing is that like you usually don't look like you lost 10
I know,
pounds.
but it's
you
all
look
the
like
feeling.
you.
It's all water weight too.
Yeah, you look like you don't feel well.
Yeah, totally.
That's no one ever gets about that. It's the number is lower. You look like shit.
Totally. And you probably feel
you feel even worse.
Yeah.
You've been eating nothing but bananas and cabbage soup for 2 days.
And the house smells terrible.
And the house smells fucking awful when you do it. Oh my God. Yeah.
So you have a sister. Do you have any other siblings?
Brother as well.
What's the rank? Like
I'm youngest. He's 7 years older than me. She's 4 years older than me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm
Little
the
baby
youngest.
brother.
Little baby.
Yeah. Do you act like the baby?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
Were you the only one to flee the Bay Area? Or?
Yeah, they still live there.
Really?
Yeah.
There's always got to be one. There's always one that goes away.
Yeah. Well, they're like they both have kids, family. My brother's a San Francisco cop.
Yeah.
Like
he's a real person.
He's there. My sister lives in like the East Bay, and
Mm-hmm.
they got a house. They're pretty settled in.
Oh, the siblings with houses.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah. No, they got. I love my brother and my sister. They're great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really notice this too much with boys. I mean, yeah, a lot of this is with girls. I notice girls like will compare themselves to their siblings. Do you do that with your siblings? Compare yourself?
I mean, a little bit in terms of like, I was also shooting for what they have in terms of like a family and like a more settled down life, and it really didn't turn out like that for me. You know, like my relationships didn't really pan out and stuff like that. So that's one of the reasons why I'm here, is to kind of like hit a reset button.
Really? New York was a reset.
Yeah, I just kind of felt like I was banging my head on the wall.
Pulled a little geographic.
Yeah, pretty much. It was like, because I knew if I was like, well, in comedy wise, like New York made a lot of sense. But like, I also like, the other option is LA, and I fucking hate LA. But also like, it's like, how much of a change is that?
Yeah.
You know, like
absolutely.
I would just be back in the Bay Area every month.
Yeah.
You know, every other weekend. Yeah. And it's like, what's the point?
Totally.
So,
you need to make the real.
Yeah, I need to make the jump.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's, but like, yeah, I mean, I had to kind of stop doing that comparison a while ago, because it just stopped being able to be compared
it was
at
like,
a point, you know?
Absolutely.
We're not like terribly different people, you know, but like we are different, you know?
In what ways?
Well, I'm not a cop.
Yeah.
We can start with that one.
Like
I just look like a cop. Yeah, my son of a fireman. That's why I got this mustache.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Real civil servant family.
I mean, mostly, yeah. A lot of teachers, cops, firemen.
Yeah.
I think my dad said this in his retirement speech. He's like, my youngest is the first male since we came to this country on my side of the family not to work for the city of San Francisco.
Whoa, that is crazy.
Yeah,
Are they from
fourth
Ireland?
generation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're all the Irish people. That's all they do. So
yeah.
So like that was that's the makeup of my family. So yeah, cops, firemen, teachers. A lot of teachers too.
Your sister's a teacher?
No, she was a stay-at-home mom for a while. She met her husband. They worked at Enterprise, and then now she's doing softball coaching. She played softball in college. She was
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's a real good catcher.
Yeah.
So, and you know, suburban moms, they pay out the ass for stuff like that.
Oh yeah, totally.
So she's doing decent money doing that.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. I mean, you're working with kids. That's like teacher.
Yeah, and she loves doing that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good fit.
Did your parents just kind of have to come around to the fact that you were, you know, on this artistic endeavor of comedy?
They've always been pretty supportive.
Oh, that's good.
I mean,
a lot of times that freaks people of that ilk out.
No, I think my dad doesn't get it a lot. I think he doesn't get a lot of like, I don't want to say a lot of my life choices, but like he wouldn't make a lot of these choices, but he doesn't hold that against me.
Totally.
And he's, you know, always supportive. And he's not like you're doing great. It's more like all right.
Yeah.
You know,
you're alive. Everything's good.
Yeah, you're not
on drugs.
You're not hurting yourself.
Yeah.
You're not like fucking up your life.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
it's
have fun with it.
Don't ask, don't tell.
A little bit.
Relationship. That's the relationship I have with my parents in terms of just like artistic endeavors.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, my mom,
pursuits.
I'll talk with her about it. She's a little more like, she'll ask questions a lot more. My dad will ask sometimes, you know, but like my mom is generally like, you know, a lot more talkative of a person in general.
Totally.
So
what did she do?
She had a lot of jobs, but she like kind of finished working as like a college and career counselor.
Oh, okay.
But when I was in high school, she worked in the attendance office.
Oh gosh, your mom worked at the high school you worked in.
Great. Just great.
How was that?
Fucking status report.
Yeah.
Everything I did all the time.
Yep,
Every
always.
teacher would swing by. Hey, Marty's acted out today. I was like, I was not the only one acting out today. Okay.
Always under the thumb of the man.
Yeah. It was good. That was nice having her there. She wasn't like overly nosy.
Yeah.
You know.
That's good. That's good. Was she a good cook?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Both my parents, because my dad's a fireman. Firemen are great cooks.
Oh, is that a thing?
Yeah, because they, you know, their shift is like 24 hours, right? So they're 1 day on, 2 days off usually, and they cook for each other in the firehouse. So like they get these big budgets to like go out and buy food, but they have to cook for like, you know, 8 to 10 people at a time, and so they're making these big family style meals, and like everyone's kind of like bringing their shit to the table,
right?
You know, and so my dad got really good. So he's good with that. He's good at barbecuing, and yeah, he's a very good cook. And so is my mom.
Yeah.
The one thing though that like, you know, back to the question of dieting, like they were not good at cooking vegetables.
Right.
Everything was
Meats,
steamed.
potatoes.
Everything was steamed.
Yeah.
And I was like, I thought that's how all vegetables were cooked
for
a long time. It was all steamed. It's like, this tastes like shit. Steamed carrots, steamed broccoli. Steamed broccoli has got to be one of the worst fucking vegetables.
I really thought that Brussels sprouts were like it tasted like poison to me.
Well, Brussels sprouts are a unique case because they didn't realize, those really became popular like later,
Yeah.
more recently, because I think they like somebody out there made like a new breed of Brussels sprouts that didn't taste nearly as shitty as they previously did.
That's so true.
But yeah, they did taste like shit before, and that was the annoying thing was that like everyone's like, oh, you got to try Brussels sprouts, they're so good.
Oh.
I'm like, no, they're not. They're like, no, you just got to put balsamic vinegar and
you
garlic
gotta put a lot of
and
shit on
bacon
them.
on it. Like, bro, you put that on anything.
Yeah.
You put it on a turd, I'll fucking eat it. You know,
Totally.
Put vinegar, garlic, and olive oil on something. Like, yeah.
No, but the
Bacon.
difference between steamed broccoli and steamed Brussels sprouts compared to it roasted in a pan is so different.
Yeah, and that's so like. I thought like I only liked like specific salads and stuff like that. And it's like, no, you just ate shitty vegetables growing up.
I think a lot of our
I try to tell my parents that, and they still steam the vegetables, and I'm like, you have an air fryer.
So
Fucking
gross.
use it, you know?
I used to think anything that came out of a crock pot was disgusting, and then I realized like, oh, my mom literally didn't put any seasoning in it whatsoever.
That was a good thing, is that like my parents seasoned everything.
Yeah.
Like sometimes overly much, because my dad was a cigar smoker, so he had no taste buds. So sometimes we were like, Dad, we can only do so much lemon pepper.
Totally.
There was one, like, I remember there was like a month where like everything was lemon pepper, and we're like, you have to stop. Like, this is, I mean, we appreciate you cooking for us, but you can't put lemon pepper on everything.
I'm like sick
But I think it was like
of
the only
lemon
thing I'm like excited is taste buds.
Yeah.
You know, it's
That's
fucked
so
up
true.
taste buds.
Yep. It's because I remember the first time my parents like were catching on to me having smoking cigarettes because I like only drank my coffee black.
They're like, uh-oh. We know this.
Yes.
We know these signs.
It's like, no, I'm just trying to impress a boy. Please. That's what it always
Mom,
comes down
leave
to.
me alone. You don't get it.
That's so funny. Yeah. Have you, because you do like, you care about having muscles, right?
Well, I always played sports,
You always
right?
played
And
sports.
so, and I mean, in terms of like, you're talking about like comparison to like siblings and stuff like that, my whole family is athletic, right? Like,
okay.
everybody was athletes. So like, not only was I playing sports, needed to be strong for that, but it was also like, you don't want to be a shrimp next to everybody, because we're all at like family picnics playing like sports next to each other, and you just get the shit beat out of you.
Yeah.
And I mean that literally.
Yeah.
And so, and it's not like I like, you know, we're like physically beating each other up, but we would play physical football, physical. My uncle broke my cousin's arm in a pickup basketball game, and knocked one of his teeth out too. Like
real aggro.
Separate occasions,
Yeah,
very aggro. Like, and the uncle's like not giving an inch to the youth kids, you know, like as it should be, you know, put them in their place.
Yeah.
But
teach them.
Teach those boys. That's the only way That's the only way they're gonna learn. And so the like comparison of like, I had to be strong to be around that, but also like over time, like you're just surrounded by big people all the time. I played college sports. You know, I played sports. I played rugby for 20 years.
Oh,
so I only
you're a
stopped
rugby
playing
player.
last year. And so like I was always around bigger people, and so it was very much in a like I like it, but it's like it's kind of a chicken or the egg thing. Like I literally don't know anything else.
Right.
You know, because like if I looked at myself and I was like, if I stopped working out, if I stopped lifting entirely, I don't know how much of the mass would go away.
Totally.
But like it would look so much different that I'm like, is that me still?
Right.
I think that would probably fuck with my head.
No, absolutely. You'd look like a deflated football or something.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's and so between that and like literally the threat of physical violence is a great motivator to keep you fit. Right?
Yes.
It's like the past 20 years, it was like, if you don't stay in shape, a Polynesian man is going to suplex you onto the ground.
Have you ever had any gnarly injuries from rugby?
Nothing too crazy. The reason I quit was last year I broke my ankle, but like not like a tib-fib. Like it wasn't like pointing in a different direction. It was just like a little like fracture in the back. But it was like bad enough. I was like, I'm moving to New York. I don't want to be on like a crutches or a knee scooter trying to take the subway here. That sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah.
This whole city is not made for people with leg problems.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm going to quit. Stop doing that to stay fit. But that is my most recent one. If you look, this shoulder, there's a bump here. So my AC joint is like permanently sticking out. And it doesn't cause me like mobility or anything like that. It just looks weird as fuck.
Yeah, you just have a little.
Because it's funny because I post clips from the Naked Show. Because I do that show.
Yeah, you're a fan of the Naked Show.
It pays well. It's a good show.
I would literally never. Gun to my head. Couldn't do
it
it.
Gets me a lot of fans.
I bet.
Yeah. Of the not so straight persuasion.
Of the only variation.
Of the only variation. Yeah, a lot of that. But so like I'll put up a clip from that, and some people are like, "Is he naked?" And like I would say maybe like an eighth of the comments are, "What the fuck is going on with his shoulder?"
You're looking at the wrong thing, man.
Yeah. Does he have a cyst? What is that? It is. I mean, you can feel it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No,
it's lumpy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that
like
I got that in college. The same guy. I got knocked out at the same time. So I got a real bad concussion, and that happened at the same time. Oof. And then I've also separated the shoulder like fully out, and those are probably my like most notable injuries. I mean, sprained ankles and like, I mean, I've banged up all my body, and I've had a few concussions. And
thank God you're drinking all that milk. You need that bone density.
I mean, this is the first bone break I ever had, the ankle. And I was like, breaking a bone after 20 years of playing rugby is like, maybe it's time to hang it up.
Yeah. 20 years is a long time to be playing